Throughout World War II, the love life and relationships that Adolf Hitler had with women were kept a secret. Many Germans did not realise that he had a girlfriend, or that Eva Braun was a close companion of the Nazi dictator. The Nazis sought it as imperative to keep the relationship status of the Nazi dictator a secret, as they wanted him to seem appealing to women also, and there was many German women who found the dictator attractive. However, Hitler's fascination with younger women was rather dark, and he would later briefly marry Eva Braun, who was of course much younger than him. He had a very bizarre relationship with his niece, Gaily Raubel, which resulted in the young woman dying after she shot herself with Hitler's own pistol, following an argument that she had with the controlling Hitler, but this incident was then covered up by the Nazis. But there was a woman who was one of Hitler's girlfriends, and despite the 21-year age gap between the pair, Hitler did seem to be infatuated with the young Maria Reiter. What is the story of the forgotten lover of Adolf Hitler? Join us today as we find out, and remember to support our channel. Please make sure to subscribe. Maria Reiter was born in Berchtesgaden on the 23rd of December 1911. It would be here where Hitler would spend a lot of his time, as he would create the Berghof, his mountain retreat and residence, along with the Eagle's Nest tea house. The area would become heavily Nazified during the Second World War, but Maria's mother would die while she was young. She was then forced to leave school and work in the family clothes shop in Obersalzburg. She was the daughter of an official in the Social Democrats Party, but when she was just 16 she met Adolf Hitler for the first time. Hitler was of course a prominent politician at the time, and this was before the Second World War broke out. Hitler, though, had a strange attraction to teenagers and younger women, and he would not date women his age. He would later explain to a confidant that a girl of 18 to 20 is as malleable as wax. It should be possible for a man, whoever the chosen woman may be, to stamp his own imprint on her. That's all the woman asks for. It was clear he was a manipulator and a control freak, but Hitler, when he met Maria, was 37 at the time, and there was 21 years between the pair. Maria accepted his advancements, and she said about the time they went on a first date. We went out into the night. Hitler was about to put his arm around my shoulders and pull me towards him, when the two dogs suddenly attacked each other. Hitler suddenly intervened. Like a maniac, he hit his dog with his riding whip and shook him violently by the collar. He was very excited. I did not expect that he could hit his dog so brutally and ruthlessly, the dog which he said he could not live without, yet he beat up his most loyal companion. She did challenge him on this, saying, "How can you be so brutal and beat your dog like that?" But Hitler insisted that this was necessary. Another historian has claimed that Hitler would introduce himself to Maria when the pair walked their dogs, and that he would pursue and flirt with her. Hitler would also take her out on trips in his Mercedes and invited her to a meeting he was to address. She was impressed by his celebrity and by his dress. By this time, breeches, light velour hat, riding whip, and a coat held closed by a leather belt. In her later account, she recalls him taking her to dinner, feeding her cakes like a child, and touching her leg with his knee under the table. Hitler told her that she reminded him of his own mother, especially her eyes, and suggested they should visit his mother's grave. There she recalled Hitler was overcome. She later said that Hitler was moved by something, but he did not want to tell me, that he was not ready yet. So for Hitler, Maria reminded him of his mother, and it may have been her looks. And another historian says about Hitler's penchant for younger women that he, Hitler, was 37 years of age, she was 16. Like his father, he preferred women much younger than himself, girls he could dominate, who would be obedient playthings, but not get in the way. The two women with whom he became the most intimately associated, Gaily Raubel, 19 years younger than he was, and Eva Braun, 23 years younger, fitted the same model, until that is, Gaily became so rebellious and wanted a level of freedom which Hitler was unwilling to permit. Hitler would seemingly prefer the companionship of younger women, and he found it easier to chat to them, as he would be intimidated by being knocked back by women of his own age. But with Maria, it's believed the pair did have a physical relationship. It is believed that Hitler groomed her before he asked her out, and at the end of one date he made a course advance towards her, but he did convince Maria to kiss him. In February 1927, Hitler wrote to Maria saying, "My dear good child, I was truly happy to receive the sign of your tender friendship to me. I am given a constant reminder of your cheeky head and your eyes. As regards what is causing you personal pain, you can believe me that I sympathise with you, but you should not let your little head droop in sadness, and must only see and believe, even if fathers sometimes don't understand their children any longer, because they have got older, not only in years but in feelings. They mean only well for them. As happy as your love makes me, I ask you most ardently to listen to your father. And now, my dear treasure, receive the warmest greetings from your wolf, who is always thinking of you. The pair had many different dates, and during these Hitler became more manipulative, and Hitler would tell Maria that he wanted her to be his wife, that he wanted to have a family with her that had blonde children, but he was in no rush to do this allegedly. Hitler would also tell Maria to wait for him, and he would at some point forget about her for a number of years, and this led Maria Reiter into depression. He would send her a copy of Mein Kampf for Christmas, but Hitler did not visit her, and Maria stated, "My whole world started tumbling down. I did not know what was happening. Nothing. All sorts of pictures appeared in my mind, faces of other women, and Hitler smiling at them. I did not want to go on living." At some point she did try to take her own life, but she was saved by her brother-in-law at the last minute. But Hitler claimed he could not see her, as he was being blackmailed by someone who was going to report him to the press for having a relationship with a girl who was underage. The letter sent to blackmail Hitler said, "Hitler seduces young, inexperienced girls. He just found a 16-year-old girl in Berchtesgaden, who obviously will be his next victim." He would not want to ruin what he was building with the Nazis, and this is why he shunned Maria. She then gave up on Hitler, and she married a local hotel keeper named Ferdinand Vodrich, but the marriage was not a good one, and she then left him. But following this she was visited by Rudolf Hess, who had been sent by Hitler to tell her that Hitler still loved her, and she went to Munich to see him. Maria spent the night with Hitler, and she said, "I let everything happen. I had never been so happy as I was that night." And it was clear she was falling under the trap of the man that groomed her again, and Hitler said she should stay in Munich as his lover, but Maria wanted to marry him. But Hitler would not consent to this, but he even asked his Nazi lawyer Hans Frank to sort out Maria Reiter's divorce. But as Hitler was rising to power in Germany in 1934, she travelled to Munich again to meet with the future dictator, and he asked her again to become his lover. But she refused to do this, and this led to a large argument, and Hitler would claim that he could not marry or have children as it would deflect from his mission to save Germany. But in 1936, after the final rebuttal, she would marry an SS man, SS Hauptsturmführer George Kubitsch, and Hitler even congratulated the pair on this. But she would last meet with Hitler the year before the Second World War broke out, and Hitler would talk about Eva Braun to Maria Reiter, and would say he was not satisfied by his relationship with Braun. The pair would continue to correspond, and following the death of her husband at the Battle of Dunkirk, Hitler sent Maria 100 red roses. But the pair did continue to write, and she would write 2 final letters to Hitler in April 1945, whilst Hitler was inside of his Berlin bunker, as the Soviet Red Army encircled him, and he would never leave the bunker. But Maria Reiter herself would die in 1992 at the age of 80. Maria Reiter was the lover of Adolf Hitler, who throughout the Second World War and before it's believed was devoted to him. Their relationship began inappropriately, but her final letter to Hitler was shocking as she said, "Dear Adolf, I am sorry I cannot write a longer Sunday letter to you. I am in a good mood and my confidence in you and my belief in Germany's victory is undaunted. I am sending you the heartiest greetings and remain with fond kisses until we meet again. Your unwavering, always true Maria." Within a month of this final letter being sent, Hitler would be dead inside of his bunker. Thanks for watching. To support our channel, please make sure to subscribe, and once again, thank you so much for watching.